delighted to be here. My greetings to this extremely distinguished gathering. We have all gathered here for a very important discussion titled Economic Slowdown, Rethinking Our Finance. We all know that we are going through, we meaning industry, locally, regionally, nationally and internationally, are going through some challenging times. And this is widely acknowledged by the government, by the media and by the industry. So there is no two opinion about it. We have seen significant reforms in the last few years. The insolvency code, which is really shaking up the financial sector and the industrial sector. The GST, which is a very significant, long-awaited tax reform. We have seen demonetization. We have seen the Benami Transactions Act, the Political Funding Act. We have seen the Companies Act in 2013, which has brought about a tremendous regime of compliance, governance and transparency. On the other hand, we are seeing various concepts, various developments which are having a big impact, like growth of technology, Industry 4.0, automation. We are seeing impact of climate change physically as well as on policy at the government level, as well as on operations at the corporate level. We are seeing new technologies which are shaking up old existing technologies, like for example, electric vehicles is shaking up automobile industry. Fintech is significantly shaking up the banking and finance industry. So there are a lot of such things happening. Some people say that this slowdown is cyclical. Some others say this slowdown is structural. The rest of them say it is a combination of both. Let us hear the opinion of the panelists. Is it structural? Is it cyclical? How is the economy going to emerge from these factors? I would like to request the panelists, while they make their analysis and suggestions, to focus on MSMEs, because that is the heart, soul and lifeblood of any economy.
But I represent a non-banking finance company, which is mainly supporting microfinance entities, lenders in microfinance space. But we also support non-banking finance companies, which are lenders to small businesses. I believe it is a combination of both structural and cyclical. It's not just cyclical, which means we just can't wait it out. Certain actions are needed from the government, or from the industry, and from everybody for us to come out of it with least amount of pain. And the impact of that we are seeing for the last 1.5 years now. The cataclysmic event, or the event with which we actually first started noticing it big time, is the IL&FS default, post which the lending in the country, particularly to the small business loans, in the small business space, has actually slowed down a lot. Please be very conscious of your short-term cash, working capital, which is actually supposed to take care of your day-to-day requirements, going out to fund declared or undeclared losses, or to fund capital expenditure. These are the sort of times where we would need both the promoters or the businessmen and the lenders to come together and to ensure that the entities pass through this phase without much of a hiccup. And then it's a matter of time before you will see the cyclical upturn, and we will be able to everybody will be able to take advantage of it.
Now, there is no doubt about the fact that the state of economy is worrying, and there is no second thought. Piece of advice for all the MSMEs who are operating is to look at the cash flow, which is the most important thing. To look at the being liquid at all the times, and also plan yourself that there may be challenging times ahead, which is much worse than what your current time is. So we need to be adequately prepared for those things. As Partha has rightly said, that this is a time where bankers, customers have to open up and discuss their problems in frankness and see how we can tide up the situation. Government is also pushing the public sector banks, which were not in the lending space for the last 12 to 18 months. They are pushing them hard to do lending, come out of the fear and push the money into the system, because that's the lifeblood. And if the money is not circulating in the system, the challenges going forward will be much more. So there will be bankers, there will be various financial institutions who will come forward and support.
I represent an organization called Lahu Udyog Bharati. As to whether we are in a recessionary trend or in a downward trend, I think I would like to say that it is more of a turbulence today. It is a disruption which is happening, no doubt about it, but what we are in a turbulence. And I would like to address the real topic. You know, the first thing that we all should do in such a situation is to minimize your inventory. I think what lies at your end is sometimes, you know, the hard cash which lies at our end. So the basic thing that we all should do at this point in time is to minimize our inventories. And second thing is, you know, let us not get into a situation of over trading. See, all of us would like to have our sales, you know, going ahead, no doubt about it. But I think we should not get into a situation of over trading in this situation. So over trading leads to delayed payments from the customers, or we need to understand what is the realistic business environment at the customer's place, and try to address only that, rather than trying to, you know, push our sales in this kind of environment. This is one thing which I would like to say. Which is better, it is a fund flow or a cash flow? I think from the word itself, I think it's very clear. The fund flow is more from a balance sheet perspective. And the cash flow is something what you really want. So whenever you go for a new project, you always, you know, try to ask for, you know, loan from the bankers, which is a cash flow. But unless and until you have a fund flow supporting the cash flow, the bankers are not going to give us. But in such situations, you know, we always would like to find out, you know, basically like what Patsadi was also mentioning, you know, trying to divert the short-term funds to the long-term assets. I think this is one very, very important thing which all MSMEs should not do, at least in this kind of situation.
One of the important points when Dr. Surana started, is it cyclic or structural? So I would say normally these things keep happening. If you see the last 30, 40 years, you know, these kind of recessions keep coming in different forms and names. But for the government is to create an ecosystem, and every one of us who has come here from the MSME sector, the survival is in our hands. So rethinking our finance, first we have to look within ourselves. And one of the important points through my journey as an entrepreneur, I learned bottom line is not the most important thing. The most important thing is the positive cash flow. And it is very easy to say that don't divert funds to the long term, but it does happen. In every industry, it happens. So what is the remedy now? That's what we are looking at. One, lesser profitability has created a cash gap. Second, diversion of funds to the long-term assets has created a cash gap. Now, how do we set right? So first thing is we should be open to the bankers. And I request the bankers here also to, and they also openly listen to the problem. It's not like, you know, the first banker said, the disclosed and undisclosed losses. There is no option for a MSME company to declare a loss. So they normally declare a profit. But it is there for the corporates to declare huge losses and still stay afloat. But is that possibility given to an MSME company? That's the first question. So the bankers have to be open and listen to the MSME. If there are losses, help them with long-term funds to bridge that gap. That's one of my important requests. And to the MSME sector also, please go and ask for long-term funds to bridge your gaps on the short term. This will really keep your company afloat, and you have time to restructure and go back to your bottom line.
I am from Industries Department, Government of Tamil Nadu. So the entrepreneurs, before starting an industry or existing industry, there are a lot of schemes available. They are not aware and they have started. For example, for investment in 25 lakhs, Government of Tamil Nadu is giving up to 32 lakh subsidy. So no one aware of that. So first step, there is a 10 steps to become entrepreneur. First step, you have to do an innovative product. That is very important. For that, Government of Tamil Nadu, we have an innovation voucher program. So if you have an idea, if you have to develop as a product like robo or LED lamp, whatever it is, we will go up to 2 lakhs that you can make use of. And then for putting it in the market, there is a market survey. For that, we are giving up to 5 lakhs. So with IIT professors or any knowledge partner, you can make use of. That is your first step. Second, you have to prepare a very good project report, because bankers ask a very good project report. Based on that only they will finance. So if you don't have any collateral also, you can go for credit guarantee funded trust scheme. Up to 2 crore without collateral, they will finance the loan. That is your second step. Third step, proprietor or partner, you can suggest based on your thing. That also, all things may be made online. Fourth step, you have to go for a land and building. We have SIDCO, Small Industries Development Corporation. We are giving a land at the subsidized rate. For example, micro, small and medium. At the subsidized rate, there is a SIDCO. SIPCOT is for a large industries. You know, micro means up to 25 lakh plant and machinery, 25 lakh to 5 crore is a small, 5 to 10 crore is a medium, greater than 10 crore is a large. So government is giving lot of finance for these MSMEs. So that is very important. And fifth step, there is a beautiful website called GEM, Government E-Market. You people, now you want orders. You can go to that website. Even government, all procurement, they are putting it that website.
45% of our country's GDP are contributed by 60 million MSMEs. And he was mentioning about the Udyog Aadhar memorandum. Out of this, only 50 lakh MSMEs have registered with that particular website. So as an initiative, first, these messages we need to actually reach all the MSMEs so that they register with MSME site and get Udyog Aadhar memorandum to get all these benefits. Point number one, before introduction of GST, because I will speak from a tax perspective. Point number one, 17 levies have been taken away, and instead of that GST has come. That means huge, the compliance has been done away with, and instead the digital compliances has been brought. And recently, and almost another maximum within 1 week or another 10 days, you have this Sabka Vishwas legacy dispute resolution scheme, which will come to a close, meaning all those disputes up to the 30th of June 2019 with respect to the old service tax regime, excise, all those they want to actually close, give as much relief. And even those who have not filed their tax returns, I repeat, those who have not filed their service tax returns, but credits are there in their bank account, the government says, whatever is the tax, please pay in this scheme, no interest, no penalty. 100% pay tax and no questions will be asked. And that is the kind of solution and resolution government has brought with respect to the old law. Coming to the present regime, we are only seeing the negative things, because negative news will actually spread so fast. They make one, maybe they are forcing the MSME to adopt the digital technology and also to improve their business efficiency. Actually, people may find it difficult to adopt to it, even small and medium enterprises, but it actually, the other part of that is they enhance transparency.
Now the commercial vehicle sales have come down almost by 50%. And this clearly reflects the GDP, that is the economy. If the commercial vehicles growth is less, that means the GDP is going down and the economy is going down. So, to answer to whether it is structural or cyclical, coincidentally it's both. That's what my feeling is. Okay, commercial vehicle industry go through a cyclical downturn, and this time it added the structural portion also, like GST, demonetization and all that. So that's what I feel. So what is that we are doing as a OEM within Ashok Leyland is we calculated the break even. Many of us don't do this, I think so. Okay. Many of us don't do the break even. Where do we break even? See, for 5 years before, we were about 50,000 vehicles break even. Today, we are about 90,000 vehicles as break even. So this information was shocker to everyone. So I suggest, even in MSMEs, you should know the break even, where you break even. Okay, that is what we did. And this break even is calculated and communicated to every employee twice a month. And that means what? We are sensitizing people. We are sensitizing everyone in the organization about the need for saving even a pie. And one more important thing is you have a daily P&L. And that is a system that we introduced. And that is automatically, okay, though it is not known or shown to every one of the employee, but it is shown. It is calculated and it is looked at, and where we wasted money, every day we are analyzing. That is what the MSMEs also have to do more than us.
Yeah, good morning everyone. Myself Ravi Kiran. Everybody covered many of the things. Basically, I'm from a banking sector. I'm into machinery loans. So I will only talk about finance because they are expertise in my field. So sir said, Rajshekaran sir said that what company's point of view, that you should be liberal in giving funds when we are down. At the same time, companies, banking sector will also expect something from customer as well. So when customer is in a going down, what we suggest to customer only 3-4 things. As sir said, be calm. That means when down stage is there, just survive the business, and when the uptrend is there, please go with the flow. So at the same time, when downtrend is there, be survive. That means at least see that your accounts are not going to NPA. Because once it gone to NPA, when you come back again, when your business is normal, so banks will not support again because there is something called CIBIL. So I request you to keep that in mind. And now everybody knows that there is one common word by name VUCA. VUCA is, that means very uncertain. Market is very uncertain. Every year there is a challenge. GST, demonetization, now automobile slowdown, something. So that means every year there will be some problem will be there, so that we need to prepare for all these problems. So earlier it was 5-year plan, 10-year plan, but what we feel that it should be a quarterly plan, yearly plan, and a 3-year or 5-year plan, not more than that, because things has changed now. Very uncertainty in the market, so there should be a short-term plan every time.
Each of the panelists made some very significant observations and suggestions. I will start with the first one, which is lenders and promoters must work together. Bankers must come together. Correct? So I would like to ask the bankers and finance people here, what is the impact of the insolvency code on large corporates, on small corporates, and on the banks?
Recoveries in the banking system actually have been improving after the IBC. While what we see is the items in the newspaper, the large exposures actually being recovered with some of the cases actually getting sorted out through the IBC. Overall, actually things have been improving. Things have been improving a lot in terms of not just in terms of solving a particular existing NPA or existing stressed asset through IBC, but the fact that this is something which is available to the bankers, and this is something which is not going to last for 20 years, 30 years, and it's actually going to get sorted out fast.
The IBC is expecting the lenders also to become a part of the resolution process. So, Amitji, what is your opinion?
IBC is definitely facilitating bankers for finding a resolution, and the whole objective of IBC is a quicker resolution, because the more delay it happens, the more value it erodes.
See, first of all, we are talking from the perspective of MSMEs. See, we understand that there is a provision in IBC that for MSME owners, they will be allowed to rebid. I want to ask this question to the bankers, whether they have the chance to rebid and then stay in the business, because something has gone wrong in the past. Is that opportunity been really given to the MSME?
The MSMEs today are going through a lot of stress, especially on the banking sector. And we honestly, I mean, even from Lahu Udyog Bharati, we are trying to take it up with the Honorable Minister of Finance. Today there is a RBI notification which has come in January 2019, where the Honorable Minister of Finance has said that the RBI is willing to do a restructuring of the loans. But today, if you go through the notification, there is one small point there where it says the bankers have to register with RBI to accept this clause. I mean, this is something which banker will do it? I mean, they also have to be in the business of earning money, no doubt about it. But I think the regulatory body should give notifications where it is really implementable. So this is where I feel that there is something as a gap between the policy and the implementation.
So there is a scheme called a SIC unit rehabilitation. So every bankers, every 3 months, they have to supposed to conduct that meeting according to RBI guidelines. So I also attended on Central Bank of India. So they will see all the stressed MSME like SME 0, 1, 2, like that. They will analyze, restructure it with the help of government, as well as the entrepreneurs will be sitting in that. So this should be strengthened. I think, I don't know how many banks are following that. So all banks, we have given target. Our officers will go to every bank, and then they are doing this work.
Sir, one thing is like from the OEM side, for the MSMEs, the payments, we don't delay. We delay it for the major suppliers and medium suppliers and all that. But for the MSMEs, it goes on dot. That is one help that what we are giving to MSMEs. So if we help them that way, then they can survive. That is point number one. Point number two is, we analyze the suppliers into quadrants. One is my dependence on the supplier and the supplier's dependence on me. Okay. If the both are high, those suppliers we select and we maintain the SOB, that is the share of business. We don't cut the share of business at all. Okay. And we even take the share of business from some other supplier and give it to them. So these are the two important initiatives that we are doing for the MSMEs now. And the third initiative is through this NAQR that we are imparting the knowledge and what needs to be done and all that. Okay, so these are the three things that we are trying to do.
What is the financial literacy level of the MSMEs? Are they literate enough? Are they well informed enough to handle their finances? And if they are not, what is your view? What should be done by organizations like NIQR to spread financial literacy, some basic tools which will help the MSMEs cope better? Who better to ask than Mr. Rajashekhar to start with? Then I will go to Mr. Hariharan.
See, even though the objective of NIQR is to promote quality, that was our main objective, but we thought we were always supported by MSME companies in
when you ask is TQM for business or business for TQM? Okay. Or in a sense like TQM, when I mean the quality, okay. The quality is for business. Only when the business exists, there is a need for quality. Okay, so that is why that now we are focusing on sustaining and survival of the businesses. Okay, that is one thing. Second point which I want to make is this is a series of programs that the NIQR is giving back to MSMEs. From there we got so much. And the next step would be a real workshop. Like Dr. Surana asked, how many of the MSMEs are knowledgeable on finances? Okay, so we are going to have a real workshop with one good financial expert to how to analyze their finance and how to save money and how to really create a P&L. So that is the next step. This is the first panel discussion we had. This is the second one. The third step is going to be the workshop.
So just to let you know, there are a lot of funds who are working and are ready to put money in stress accounts. There are stress funds who are focusing on taking up the refinancing activities where they feel the business model is viable, where they feel that the business model is scalable. They are ready to do that. All what is required is the facilitation between those kind of funds and some of these MSMEs, because they are scattered all over the country.
This MSME Samadhan, what Dr. Bhaskaran was mentioning, we have a site called samadhan.msme.gov.in where 31,749 applications are filed by MSME. And so far 8,376 crores money were recovered by MSME. And 2,708 applications, when they have been filed, people have withdrawn that application by mutual settlement and an amount involved were 331 crores. Meaning, when I gave the list of the number of MSMEs, it is 60 million MSMEs and 48 lakh MSMEs have only got their Udyog Aadhar memorandum, but only 31,000 applications only they have gone to this. So there is a need for financial literacy. Micro, small and medium enterprises from Tamil Nadu government, from Government of India, they have been conducting innumerable programs. NIQR, through these initiatives, they are conducting programs. And I'll request the national executive members to even bring out with certificate course on MSMEs, and NIQR will be the right platform to do that. It is from Institute of Directors. We have the secretary here, Mr. Srinivasan is there, and they are also conducting a one-day conference on MSME. Things have been happening. We need to, especially topics like funding for MSME, accounting knowledge, books and records knowledge, tax compliances, the various government schemes. Not only that, what is the probable solution for the respect to MSME? We need to have a workshop type, practical type. We need to have some clinic type where people can come forward one-to-one, they can ask and get it clarified. All this we need to do. Catering to the masses, large-scale companies, it's easy, people come forward. MSMEs, they are very docile, they are very reserved. We need to reach out to them. And most important, we need to conduct these programs not in English, but in the local language. Thank you.
Thank you, Gopal.
1 minute.
The panel has given us a flavor of finance, financial literacy, planning, challenges and all that. I believe the audience would have got a fairly good understanding of what questions and solutions this panel is capable of dealing with. NIQR is an institution for promoting quality. But in today's, as you called it, turbulent times, our object is now to ensure the survival of our quality members. So therefore, we are now talking about finance and things like that.
Hello, good morning, sir. I'm Ganesh from MRP Auto. I just have a question to the panel. Rather than bank funding and other things, if MSMEs, because the cash required these days to grow to bigger stages, we need more cash. So participating, if we are ready to sell our stake, say 25% stake or something, is there anyone, investors, how can MSME can get those kinds of investors who could come out and invest if we are able to go ahead with a stake sale? Because banks restructuring or anything, it's just going to reduce our interest because anyway the amount of EMI we are going to pay or something is going to remain the same. So if you are able to sell the stakes or something, if there will be any investors, how that opportunity can come? That's my question.
Sir, I hope the bankers got the question from the person. See, the idea is many of the MSMEs, they have 100% stake in their company. Today, the interest cost is one which makes them, less operationable or their bottom lines are not matching.
It's more than the profitable.
Yeah, sometimes it's more than the profit allowed for the business. So they wish to know from you, in fact, you will be the right people. Is there any felicitation from the bankers to take?
Hello, good morning, sir. I'm Ganesh from MRP Auto. I just have a question to the panel. Rather than bank funding and other things, if MSMEs, because the cash required these days to grow to bigger stages, we need more cash. So participating, if we are ready to sell our stake, say 25% stake or something, is there anyone, investors, how can MSME can get those kinds of investors who could come out and invest?
Sir, I hope the bankers got the question from the person. See, the idea is many of the MSMEs, they have 100% stake in their company. Today, the interest cost is one which makes them, less operationable or their bottom lines are not matching.
It's more than the profitable.
Yeah, sometimes it's more than the profit allowed for the business. So they wish to know from you, in fact, you will be the right people. Is there any felicitation from the bankers?
The people who are in the equity space, what we are talking about is equity coming into the company and not just the debt. The people who are in the equity space are mostly private equity players. Now, the way the private equity players operate is very different from the banks. They understand the businesses better. They would want to understand in a lot more detail about the business and put in the money. The way it works is that sort of diligence and that sort of analysis is viable a lot more for a slightly larger amount of equity investment. But having said that, there are equity players who are willing to look at seed funding, Series A funding, people normally call as. There is seed funding available for viable business models.
For his question, the other answer would be there is an MSME platform in NSE. We can definitely go and list ourselves as MSMEs. The two issues you have to see. Your current company will be valued at a certain ratio of your EBITDA. Suppose if your EBITDA is 1 crore currently, the company will be valued for automotive maybe 9 to 12, depending upon the size and how much 27% of your equity has to be minimum given to the public. That is the platform which allows you to go public and use it. This is a very easy way to liquidate your shares and keep your company afloat. But the cost is roughly works out to 70 lakhs to 1 crore. This I want to give you, the straight answer. Okay. So if you have that 70 lakhs to 1 crore, and then if your EBITDA is something which will bring you enough funds, this is the right platform.
So after starting an industry also, for that you have started 6 months or before 1 year, you can apply, you can get subsidy for plant and machinery alone. Before that, land, building and machinery we will give up to 25% plus 3% interest subsidy. After starting also up to 60 lakhs we are giving. So that thing, if you have any idea, you can discuss with your bankers and then you can sort it out. Okay.
Sir, I am Bal Subramaniam, Secretary, SIPCOT, Irungattakote Association. Why 45 days credit still you are keeping? When we are already in ICU, we want the life. Why not these payment terms can be brought down to 15 days? That OEMs can do that to save the MSME from dying. That is the immediate cash flow they will get. and they will manage the present crisis. OEMs also taking shelter under economic slowdown. That's why they are not releasing payment.
Sir, from the OEM point of view, what I would say, okay, he's saying that we are taking shelter under the economic slowdown. Okay, it is not so. Okay, it's not. We are not taking shelter. Actually, we are also facing problems. Okay, and that is why we are ensuring at least the MSMEs are paid in 45 days.
Karnakaran from Integral Component. The bankers take the point of more or less like from the MSME companies, go in for an automatic bill discounting, at least with the major tier 1s and the OEMs. So all these factors what we are talking about can be solved with one solution. If the bankers can provide a bill discounting facilities where they take up these things, then the MSMEs will get more immediate funding, plus it will also reduce all the other things what we are talking about. I would like to get a feasibility answer from the bankers.
I understand what he's asking. Can we not restructure this CC limit into a term loan and give a bill discounting facility from there so that the MSME company becomes better?
Banks would be more than happy to actually do bill discounting. And even outside the banking system, nowadays we actually see quite a few fintechs in this space. I mean, I can talk about at least a couple of them, Credex and Credible, who are platforms for the MSMEs to come and do their bill discounting of their larger customers.
Is there enough profitability for the rainy days? Are the OEM companies are providing you with that money? Is there money to even pay minimum wages?
Good morning. I am Shekhar coming from Auto Component Manufacturers Association. The inventory is the killing problem for all the MSMEs. And whereas OE is so comfortable, this was even yesterday also we have been discussing with one of our OE. He said that I want to keep a warehouse very close to my plant. I see that all your material should be here. Instantly, whenever I want, it should be supplied. For this warehouse, he has to manufacture the component at least 15 days back, for which he has to buy the raw material in 1 month advance. For the 45 to 60 days payment, when he will be manufacturing for the materials for buying and process lead time will be take 30 to 30 days, at least minimum. So the money what he is getting it back is after 90 days. Then where is he getting at and what the margin he will have it, and especially for this kind of situations, how OE is going to address on this?
We are in this problem together. See, it's not like that OEMs are somewhere there, only MSMEs are suffering. Okay. And this problem is common. Okay. And if we have enough cash flow, working capital and all that, we will definitely support the MSMEs with more benefits to them. Today, at this situation, we are trying to maintain at least what it should be maintained. Okay, we are not defaulting on what it should be maintained.
Sir, there is a cluster development approach. So Tamil Nadu is #1 in cluster development, industrial cluster. So under Ashok Leyland, lot of vendors are there. They formed a cluster. I think sir may aware of that. We have Ambattur automotive cluster, and then leather cluster, Tirupur cluster. What is the advantage means all these MSME, they will come together. For example, they want a common raw material bank, they can build it. With less raw material cost, they can get it. Like that, for finance, there is a mutual credit guarantee fund. You people can put a finance in a particular area where this type of situation arises, you can make use of that finance. So this is the main thing on cluster, hard and soft intervention. We will create common facility center and then testing center, CAD/CAM center. These are all the things where you can reduce your cost of the component also. So my best thing is if some 20 or 30 people can form a cluster. Government of Tamil Nadu, we have a micro cluster program, up to 2.5 crores we are helping.
We need to find out how do we reduce our raw material cost? How do we reduce our, of course, salary cannot be, G was talking about the minimum wages and all those things, that is all going up, but at least there are a lot of areas where we need to think about how to get into reducing our raw material cost.
In connection to that, sir,
Yes.
see, we haven't spoken about how to improve the cash-to-cash cycle. See, that is one which is killing.
We didn't get it. Please.
Cash-to-cash cycle. See, the whole business is about how much, when I have invested and when I am getting it back. Okay. With respect to OEM, it is almost 60% of my money is locked with raw material. We are not speaking about when I am investing and when I am getting it back. This is affecting my profitability. So something which from the OEM side and banker side can be done will be really helpful to the MSMEs.
My name is Girdhar Raj. We've been a third generation MSME. So we've tried hard to implement TQM and trying to make an unorganized MSME into the organized world. So what my good friend asked, I think is a problem which all of us have there. Whether it's cash to cash or fund to cash or the daily P&L, most of us discussed a lot of important points. But typically what in the recent pressures we've tried to implement, and a lot of light we can see on what is happening in this sort of economic slowdown, is our cost per product. That is, we have an employee cost, we have a raw material cost, we have an overhead cost, we have a funding cost. Okay? Now when you put all your cost breakup and look at it per product or per day, I'm sure the answer comes there. Should I sell on credit or not? Can I afford to hold inventory or not? You answer everything yourself, which is very much in line with the daily P&L. So if every MSME can do the small homework of putting all their costs in a small Excel and looking at it every day, I think all the answers of the slowdown, we can answer it ourselves. Now larger companies can have a similar ethical system where they have to pay. And now they have to pay a little more earlier than before. Great August panel here can put some more light on the true implementation of the existing policies first.
My thought process in this whole thing is, why can't there be a system either through the banker or through this, where all our invoices are uploaded on the GST portal, and then any invoice which goes beyond 45 days, any invoice, irrespective of the customer, then it automatically triggers the OEMs, and they have to make this payment along with the interest. So the interest can go to the banker and the money can come to us.
Actually, that's the intention of the government. What you said is the intention. That is the idea of GST also. It can't be, ours is a 1.3 billion country, and the size of MSMEs is almost 60 million. And regulated MSMEs, they don't want to be regulated. Let us be very clear. They want to be slowly regulated. We have come in a regime where the government has taken a very drastic step in regulating the entire country through, number one, restricting the cash transaction, bringing transparency in business transaction. Transparency in business transaction is one thing, like very rightly pointed out by the gentleman. Ethical way of doing business, this has to be, it can't be taught, it has to come. And that is why in the GST law itself, you have a concept called GST compliance rating. And good or bad, it has not been implemented. So because there is a requirement from the government side also.
This question is more specific to the bankers and the NBFC panel here. We have seen a lot of disruption in the IBC code for corporate sectors, and most of the MSMEs are not on the corporate sector, I mean majority in terms of. And we are going to have the insolvency laws for the personal insolvency getting kick-started anytime now. So what is the likely impact on MSME once the personal insolvency laws come in, and how is the banks and NBFC prepared for it? Thank you.
You would see the IBC coming down to a level of MSME individuals as well. That will work both ways. It will facilitate the individuals or MSME companies also to find a faster resolution.
Will you be able to give us this 1 minute short clippings to us, and we can circulate this to in our Laghu Udyog Bharati, and which can reach our MSME people, basically to give confidence.
A big round of applause because the financial literacy has started, and let me join hands with you in the way you want to make it. I'll be very happy to do it. Thank you very much in taking these steps.
And maybe the next debate should happen on these lines. How to improve the profitability of the MSME, viability of the MSME. I think with this we will conclude.
It was a wonderful 2 hours. Both sides have benefited. That is what I could see. And there was an emotional touch by Mr. Manikandan in the last minute. I had seen for the last so many years how OEMs are supporting the MSMEs as far as the quality is concerned. OEMs have gone out of the way to go to the MSMEs, that is their vendors' premises, sit there, educate them, and handhold them, and bring up their quality levels. Of course, they want better products, so they are doing. That is what a majority of you will be thinking. But they are doing. Probably the time has come where they have to go on the handhold and ensure that they are financially viable also. Next point I want to touch upon all of you is the panelists have mooted an idea last time about financial panel discussion for the MSMEs. Now they have mooted another idea about a workshop for educating the MSMEs on all the GST aspects, funds aspects, schemes aspects, all those things. So I would like to get ideas from both sides so that we can make it happen somewhere in February.